Adjourn from executive session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn from executive session.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye. And
Opposed?
let it be known that Commissioner Grissom is here at this point in time.
Thank you. All right. At this time, we'll have our proclamation. Is the representative?
Good to
on.
see you, sir.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Oh, Brittany's got it. She's here.
Everyone, this is Brad Zimmerman, who is principal of Piqua Catholic Schools, and I have a proclamation to read. Whereas each year, the Archdiocese of Cincinnati designates 1 week during the year to highlight Catholic schools, and in 2023, the week designated will be January 29th through February 4th. And whereas since 1853, Piqua has had a Catholic school, and today Piqua Catholic School is an example that a religion-based school can withstand the test of time and change. And whereas the Archdiocese of Cincinnati network of Catholic schools has grown into one of the top 10 largest systems of Catholic schools in the United States, and whereas a Catholic school education is highly valued and has played a significant role in the lives of many families, and whereas the presence of a Catholic school in our community has proven to be an additional amenity and incentive in the economic development of the city of Piqua, and whereas Piqua Catholic School is fully accredited by the Ohio Catholic Accrediting Association, serving students in preschool through 8th grade that consistently achieve above average in national testing. And whereas the school has open enrollment and welcomes students from other communities and other religions, and the intimate environment at Piqua Catholic School affords each child personal attention and promotes individual success, self-esteem, and growth. Whereas the legacy of Piqua Catholic School will live on for many years, thanks to the dedicated administrators, teachers, and students, as well as a very supportive community. Now, therefore, I, Mayor of the City of Piqua, Ohio, do hereby proclaim January 29th through February 4th, 2023, as celebrating Catholic School Week in the city of Piqua. In witness whereof, I have here unto set my hand and cause to be affixed the seal of the city of Piqua, Ohio, this second day of February 2023. Cindy Pearson, Mayor. So congratulations. Long week of preparation for the celebration. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. So we will move on to the consent agenda. Approval of the minutes.
Approval of the minutes from the January 3rd, 2023 regular city commission meeting.
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. Under old business, ordinance number O-19-22, this is the third reading.
An ordinance repealing existing Chapter 33 and enacting a new Chapter 33 of the Piqua Code.
Good evening, Commissioners. This is our third reading for Chapter 33 revisions. I will run through our changes in summary for each section of Chapter 33. Please interject any questions that you may have. Section 3301, classifications and compensation, no change. 33.02, employment conditions, changes to incorporate merit-based metrics for performance increases. Administrative procedure will be reflected in policy. 3303, holidays and personal days, prorated personal leave for employees hired after January 1, and administrative procedure will be reflected in policy. 33.04, vacations, adjusted continuous service requirements to allow the city to offer competitive leave benefits, modified probationary periods for new hires, and the remaining administrative procedure will be reflected in policy. 33.05, sick leave, discontinue sick leave payouts for employees who are terminated from the city of Piqua, no change for sick leave payouts for retirement or death benefits, and administrative procedure will be reflected in policy. 33.06, leave of absence, no changes, administrative procedure will be reflected in policy. 33.07, funeral leave, changes to increase to 5 consecutive days of bereavement leave for the loss of a parent, child, or spouse, 3 days of bereavement leave for the loss of a grandparent or sibling. Administrative procedure will be reflected in policy. 33.08, insurance. Plan description may include a high deductible health plan. The city will fund 50% of the established deductible. Wellness activities will be updated to reflect current health outcome targets. Opt-out amounts will be increased to allow flexibility for competitive plan offerings. And administrative procedure will be reflected in policy.
Can you explain what administrative procedure will be reflected in policy means so that citizens understand that?
Absolutely. So the stated benefits that are governed by you all in the Code of Ordinances will remain here in Chapter 33. How the benefits are administered will be moved to administrative policy for the city manager's operational oversight. So the benefit will remain intact in the ordinance, but how the benefit is issued will be outlined in administrative procedure and policy.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The remaining sections, 33.09 through 33.18, there will be no change, and administrative procedure will be reflected in policy.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from commissioners? Are there any questions or comments from our citizens? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'd move the ordinance number 0-19-22 be approved after the third reading, which is today.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Grissom?
Aye.
Commissioner Hines?
Aye.
Commissioner Lee?
Aye.
Mayor Pearson?
Aye.
Commissioner Vetter?
Aye.
All right. Moving on to resolution number R-1-23, tabled.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a collective bargaining agreement with Local Union 252 International Association of Firefighters.
Commissioners, I would respectfully ask that we continue to table this agenda item. The AFL-CIO has not ratified a tentative agreement. They have not voted. We are not prepared to move forward until those two things happen with presentation to the commission.
Is there a timeline?
We had hoped to finish this week, Commissioner Lee, but due to illness, we did have to cancel a session last week, but we are close.
And since the resolution is already tabled, do we require any additional activity tonight?
No, once it's tabled, it's tabled. You would have to remove it from the table to be for it to be acted on.
Very good, thank you.
We will see this resolution at our next commission meeting.
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Resolution number R-5-23, tabled.
A resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a management agreement with Hampton Golf for Echo Hills Golf Course.
I believe at this time we would need to untable this resolution.
I
Is
make
there
a motion, sorry, I make a motion, we untable resolution number R-5-23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This resolution has been untabled.
Good evening, Commissioners. This ordinance, or this resolution, would allow the city manager to enter into a contract with Hampton Golf. If you'll recall, we've been working with Hampton Golf for over a year now on a consulting basis to help us understand the operations of the golf course and to attempt to expand future revenues while at the same time looking at cost containment. The number one goal going into this type of agreement will be to make the course have a balanced budget. We definitely have the goal in mind to limit the amount that the city's general fund is having to support the golf course. And with that in mind, we have seen a vast amount of improvements and changes to the operation at the course over the last 12 months, including the new point of sale system, changes to the way the clubhouse operates, remodeling of the clubhouse, and a very increased social media presence, a new website, all of those types of things that will continue into the future under this arrangement with Hampton Golf. We're asking that the commission approve this so that we can continue that relationship into the future, at least the next 3 years.
I think it's important for the citizens to realize that we didn't just snatch Hampton Golf out of the air. There was a bidding process, and other organizations were invited to bid for the privilege of administering the golf course. And
Yes,
that's
yes.
part of the process.
Exactly. There was a RFP process that went out. We had 4 vendors vie for the option to provide this service. We had an internal committee that vetted each vendor. We did extensive background checks and consulting with other entities that utilize the various vendors. So we're very pleased with what we've learned about Hampton Golf, not only through our own utilization of them as a consultant, but also with checking references and other courses that they manage.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I was just going to say, I remember last year when we were talking about change at the golf course, it was one of our most attended meetings. And I think doing for a year a good trial basis with Hampton was a good testament to what kind of operation they do, because anytime there is change, you know, it can be of concern. But I think a lot of the feedback I got was nothing but positive on the different types of operations, how more smoothly it run. I'm excited to see what kind of offerings we can do, because it's a beautiful course. And honestly, I don't think we're utilizing it as much as we possibly could. So I'm excited to see what new and exciting operations they can provide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyone else have a comment? Citizen comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll need a motion to adopt resolution R-5-23. I'm sorry, that's it. R-5-23.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This resolution is passed. Moving on to new business, resolution number R-6-23.
A resolution awarding a contract to York Electric, Inc. for the MCC replacements, Hetzler Road and Ziegler Road booster pumping stations.
Good evening and Happy New Year. This resolution is for the electrical, the MCC, that is motor control center components for those 2 booster stations. One feeds the west side of town, one feeds the east side of town. The components in the facility are circa 1976. So they've had a good life. So we had very competitive bids with this, and both of the people bidding were very close, within a couple percent of each other. And when you break in the breakdowns, most of their pricing was spot on, so that's a good sign. And the second good sign is that we came in almost $100,000 under the engineer's estimate. So asking you guys to approve this resolution so we can get these parts ordered. There is a 280-day wait right now estimated on the components, and they'll put them in 2 to 3 weeks. So will be a lot of waiting, and then they'll change out the lift stations hopefully in the fall. Any questions?
I just want to make sure I'm looking at this right. Budget 484,000, expenditure 383.
Yes.
It's not very often that we have parts and supplies in this day and age that are under budget. Why is it, can you explain why it might be 100,000 less?
I think the engineers now are being very cautious in their estimates because they have seen prices go up on almost everything in labor and components and with inflation. So I believe they are going to be a little bit, they're going to be secure and be on the high end a little bit. They don't want to be short by 100,000. They'd rather be over by 100,000. So.
Thank you.
Any other comments from commissioners? Any comments from our citizens? All right. I move to adopt resolution number R-6-23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carried. Resolution number R-7-23.
A resolution continuing contract to Wessler Engineering to inspect stormwater manholes within the city of Piqua.
As it says in the description, this is a continuation of the inspections we did last spring and summer and the report that we got over the fall. The first batch, we did about 600 of the stormwater manholes. This second batch, we're gonna do about 500 to 550. And that'll be 2/3 of the city will be done, the oldest 2/3, and we got a lot of good information out of the first phase. I mean, they graded every single manhole for several components and graded them, and we know we have at least 20 to complete replacements we need to get on the books, and a lot of other ones that have certain failing parts. So, they said this is the second phase, and once this phase is done this year, we'll be grouping all of the work that needs to be done along with a lot of other smaller projects on our infrastructure, stormwater and sewer, and trying to get a big project going in 2024 to address a lot of these issues.
Will the information learned from the first set of manholes, the 600 that were done, will that be entered into the GIS information system?
It already is, the ones that are up for replacement, and we obtained a memory stick with all of the data from Wessler on the first batch, and that is within the GIS system right now, so.
Great.
Same thing will happen with the second, and if we go to a third phase.
And when will public have access to that information?
I don't know, I've seen the 20 worst manholes put on a display. I'm not sure if that's open to the public
Okay.
yet or not, but I know it's already in there. And we'll
Okay.
just be making that open, that with a lot of other smaller projects and future CIP projects that we've already worked on are
Sure.
starting to be populated.
This may not be the right conversation, but as I recall, in the fall, we did some smoke testing of the sewer system.
Yes.
And was that successful? I mean,
We think it was successful. We saw a lot of smoke coming out where it wasn't supposed to, so that is good. Or and College, there's a few areas that we know there's some cross connections where actually once the weather gets a little better, we're gonna go out and camera those on our own. But when I just mentioned a part of a bigger project, that the results of the smoke testing will be a part of that bigger project as well.
Nice.
thank you.
Instead of bidding out 10 to 15 small projects, we're gonna try to get one big project that gets them all in one spot.
Good idea.
Good.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from commission? Comments or questions from our citizens? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve it.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carried. Resolution number R-8-23.
A resolution to authorize an agreement with Ohio Department of Transportation for state and U.S. bike route sign installation and maintenance.
Thank you. Members of the commission, this is an initiative that ODOT has undertaken with the idea of creating uniform signage, or installing uniform signage, I should say, along the designated U.S. and state bike routes. In Piqua, as you might know, the trail number 25 along the river corridor, the Great Miami River Recreational Trail, is a U.S. bike route extending from south of Piqua, obviously, to north of Piqua, and with plans for it to go further in the future. So this resolution would allow for ODOT to provide and install the signs along that section of the trail system. And then upon doing so, the city would take over responsibility for owning and maintaining those signs in the future.
Does this process also include points of interest signage that are currently in place along highways? For instance, the Johnson Farm?
These are route markers. They do not include the points of interest type signage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any comments from commissioners? Any comments from our citizens? All right, hearing none, I move that we adopt resolution number R-8-23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution carried. Resolution number R-9-23.
A resolution approving the purchase and sale of 337 South Main Street and 417 South Main Street.
Thank you. This item pertains to two properties on South Main Street. One at 417 South Main is a vacant lot. The northernmost parcel, 337 South Main, is a small triangular lot with a small building currently located on it that is condemned and in need of demolition. The purpose in acquiring these properties would be to facilitate the future redevelopment of the properties for some infill development along the river. During the time the city has possession of it, we have CDBG slum and blight removal funds available, and we would facilitate the demolition of the small blue structure to eliminate that blight that currently exists there.
Thank you. Any comments from commissioners?
You said the one structure is condemned, not inhabited?
Correct.
Like, thanks.
Any other comments from commissioners?
I just want to add that Southview neighborhood has been at least on the fringe of conversation about those properties, and I think it's appropriate that they would offer support through letters of support for grants or other kinds of activities for those properties. So these properties have been known for some time, and we're finally getting some action on them.
Agreed.
Any other comments? Citizen comments? Hi.
I'm Danielle Dreiling. I'm 1038 Nicklin Avenue. I just would like to, out of curiosity, know what the plan is for that property after you're done tearing it down. It's just curiosity.
Good question.
So as noted, the existing structure, which is currently condemned, will be demolished, and then the site will be restored, topsoil, seeded. The other lot is already vacant. Once the two properties are acquired, they would be land banked, if you will, for lack of a better term, which means that they would be ready to be assembled into other tracts of land. There's another parcel in between these two tracts for future redevelopment. So through the Piqua Improvement Corporation, we would be able to solicit proposals to seek out developer interest and perhaps putting new residential structures on those sites overlooking the river, or perhaps it's a mixed use of some sort, but more than likely a residential product, I would imagine.
Okay, I just wanted to know. Thank you.
It's a good question. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
How you doing? My name's Roland Sauer. I live on 660 South Street. I've been here for a long time. I don't come to these meetings very often, but I didn't want to say nothing, but golf course needs money, or whatever, how I say it, and you're talking about tearing houses down and stuff like this, you got money for that. Why ain't we got money to have a swimming pool for these kids in this town? Instead of a golf course is fine, I don't golf, but we can't, every other town's got a swimming pool. Why can't we afford a swimming pool in this town? We can afford to do everything else. We had a nice swimming pool in this town. I remember the Hollow, I used to swim out there. You had a nice pool up there, we had a boat in, had to pay a levy on it. Levy must have run out, you guys filled up with dirt now. Why don't we try to keep things up? It's cheaper to keep things up than wait for last minute to tear it down.
I agree.
But no, we don't keep swimming pool up in this town. What is the point about that? You know, we got kids in this town. We got grandkids and everything else. They got to go Troy or Sydney or place like that to go swimming. But you can give money for the golf course. You can give money for tearing down somebody's house or this or that, or whatever. But, you know, there's kids in this town, too. It just ain't all about people playing golf and tearing down houses and having empty lots and this and that. I don't understand. You know, I don't understand a lot of things this town does, but, you know, this here just kids swimming pool. You got a skateboard thing up there was donate. Sooner or later, we might not live long enough, but who's going to rebuild that when it needs to be built?
Right.
You know,
Thank
that's
you.
what I can understand. You know, anybody got common sense and knows to keep something up, you got to work on it. If you own your house, you don't do nothing for 30 years, what's it going to be like? It's like anything else.
Yep.
Why can't we have a swimming pool for kids in Pickway? That's all, you know, I'm here for something else, but that's, you know, it's just, I'm just listening to what's going on here.
Okay.
Anybody says I should keep my mouth shut,
Right.
I don't know how to do that.
No one's telling you that.
My boy. So, that's, you know, I wasn't gonna say that until it was my turn, but.
That's
you know,
fine.
You can have all the golf course and this, whatever, tear down houses, but we can't have a swimming pool for the kids. The kids is our future.
I hear you.
Right.
Kids is our future. Our future's over with. You know, we're getting to age, you know, we had this long to live, we was born, we're down this far now. We're getting down closer and closer. So we gotta think about our kids and grandkids and, you know, whatever comes on. Just don't worry about tearing this down for empty lot, which is something else in Pickway, but I mean, look how many empty lots we got. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Roland.
Thank you, Roland. Any other comments from citizens? All right. I move to adopt resolution number R-9-23.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution adopted. Resolution number R-10-23.
A resolution authorizing use of city funds and resources to support community special events.
Thank you. This item relates to the variety of special events that are hosted primarily in the downtown area, but also on the recreational trail system and throughout the community in different public facilities during the course of the year that may require support from the city in a variety of forms and fashion. Oftentimes that's staffing from Public Works, or maybe it's police service, just to provide the additional support staff necessary to put the equipment out that's necessary for the event, or to provide the additional security. The list that you have in your packet is based upon numbers that were captured during the 2022 special event season, where we asked our different departments who were engaged in providing those support services to track their expenses. So it gives you a pretty good snapshot of how much public dollars are going into supporting these events. And the nature of this resolution is to seek Commission's authorization to continue with that utilization of public funds to support these special events that are important in terms of quality of life activities and interest for the community. I know we have with us this evening Main Street Pickwa Executive Director Lorna Swisher, who is instrumental in making a lot of these events happening, and I'm happy to answer any questions, although I'm sure Lorna would be kind enough to make a comment as well.
Thank you. Lorna?
Good evening, Commissioners. Lorna Swisher, Executive Director of Main Street Piqua. Yes, I am very partial to a number of these events. I think that while I'm sure that not every single one of these events appeals to every single one of our citizens, we try as an organization, as in Main Street Piqua, to provide activities that meet the needs of our community and that are fun. Because if it isn't fun, we really don't want to do it. So we appreciate the support that we get from the city of Piqua. Your public works employees are extraordinary. Every single one of them is extraordinary. And they make putting an event, or actually usually it's tearing down an event at like midnight, a lot of fun because they're amazing employees. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you would have specifically pertaining to Main Street events if you have any.
Now, my question is, I don't see on this list, Chris, the Christmas fireworks, or the New Year's fireworks for 2022.
Or 23.
It's on there.
23 is, it's at the bottom, but it's
Yeah, it's
listed
on
as
the
0.
bottom.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I mean, the item is on there, but you're saying there's no dollar amount?
No, on 2022, I didn't see anything listed.
On the 2023 special events approval list, let's see, which one are we looking at here? 2022. I would imagine you're right. If it's not on there, then that's an oversight on our part. The event, of course, did happen. We do show it on the 2023 event. The money, I know, was included in the budget that was presented to the city commission and authorized in terms of the expenditure associated
believe
with
you, I
that. So,
just-
yeah, thank you for pointing that out.
So for 23, we are not authorizing money for New Year's Eve fireworks, correct?
Well, we've listed the event so that you're understanding that we're conducting the event, but the money that is appropriated for the event was included in the budget that was previously authorized. So it's not shown here, but we would continue with the event if it's at the commission's pleasure. And-
For those of us who have concerns about the handful of people who were able to see the fireworks on New Year's Eve, I would question the expenditure for the benefit for the general public. I went outside specifically to watch, and what I heard was thud, 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 and the fog was in between, and between fog and trees. It was not I got a chance to use my new parka, but other than that, it wasn't great.
I am, however, very happy with all the Main Street events and all the people that come to those events, how well they're run, and would definitely want to continue to fund those events. So
Thank you,
you
Commissioner
guys
Lee.
do a good job.
Appreciate that.
I agree wholeheartedly. They got a great team working on there, and
They
every
do.
year trying to do something new and different, and
Yep.
continuing some good traditional events too. So thank you.
Well, in our last board meeting, we even talked about what would we do without Main Street and all
That's
this
true.
organization.
It is.
People look forward to this every year.
do.
I'm not sure this is an appropriate time to bring it up, but I do also want to say that in addition to the amazing resources that the city provides, the volunteer help that we have through our Main Street committees, we are always looking for additional people who either want to help with the planning of the events, always with the execution of the events. There is, if you go to the Main Street Piqua website, mainstreetpiqua.com, there is a link on the homepage that says, do you want to volunteer? There's an email that will come directly to my email, and we will reach back out to you immediately if you respond in such a way, and we'll figure out where your interest is and find a way to plug you in. It's on the Main Street, it's live on the Main Street Piqua website right now. So encourage you to go out there and take a look. Thank you.
You know, Lorna, I will say, you know, having served on the Main Street Board for so many years and know all the good work that Main Street does, you know, so many times we hear people in our community, what is there to do in Piqua? This is what there is to do in Piqua, and there's so much more. We don't even have Arts Council events on here. You know, so people who say there's nothing to do in our community aren't looking in the right
You're right.
places. So, yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
Another good year for Main Street
Yep.
and the city of Piqua.
Another good, and another reason to visit piquacommunitycalendar.com, which is not yet populated for 2023, but bookmark it, and all those amazing events and others will be showing up on that calendar very soon.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lorna.
Thank you.
Chris, back to you. What harm would happen if we ask for this list of approved projects for '23 be revisited and could come back to us for more discussion? Is that a possibility?
Happy to, yeah, it's at the commission's pleasure in terms of what we support. I do have a clarification for you. So the initial sheet that Commissioner Lee was asking about doesn't include the New Year's Eve expenses, because what we're showing you here is the labor and equipment cost that's above and beyond. So other departments providing support for an
There
event.
is none.
Whereas the Fourth Fest and New Year's Eve fireworks have a line item in the budget for the actual expense. There's nothing above and beyond being provided by other departments with overtime hours or special equipment or anything like that. So that's the reason it's not on the one list and it's zero on the other.
Okay, thank you.
I would move that the resolution R-10-23 be tabled until we can get current up-to-date information on several of the projects that are not listed here on the plan.
What projects are,
Yeah.
I'm confused.
New Year's Eve fireworks,
It's on here,
but it knows no money.
but that's because,
Let me try again. So there is $19,000 appropriated in the budget that's approved for
We approved that.
the New Year's Eve fireworks.
That was improved in the earlier package that we approved.
Correct. And there's also funds in there for the Fourth Fest activities. And then when there's labor and equipment required to support the event from other departments, that's what's shown on this list. So there's no additional labor and equipment for the New Year's Eve event.
yeah, so
other than
this is
the
just
expense of
labor and
fireworks.
equipment. It's not to make the event happen. It's the
Correct.
labor and equipment
Oh, absolutely
support.
correct.
But we could still revisit at some point in time the New Year's fireworks at some point in time. Not necessarily right now, but, because that's different. But the initial 19,000, we could revisit that at some point in time.
Because all these events are subject to change. I mean, if weather could be
Yeah.
canceled or any of those, right? This is just to say that we understand there's a lot of events this year, and that as a city, we're going to support it with some of our staff to help make these happen, essentially. Not run the event, but whether we got to put up barricades or clean up or those types of things, correct?
Right. And I
That's
also think
exactly
it's
right.
helping our staff and our employees plan ahead to know what's coming versus getting a call the month of and, oh yeah, we need this, because there's so many people on the chessboard, if you will, that need to be moved around. So this is just the reality that we are all on the same page. We know what events are happening. We know the support that we need to, as a city, need to put into these, and that gives our department heads some time to plan and put that together. Am I correct? City
Correct.
Manager?
And I'd just like to add to that, Commission, that the departments all have an annual work plan that they do, and that's going to become a companion document to the budget next year. So this is another way for them to plug in resources. I mean, we have limited, hours of availability for our staff, certainly. So that helps them to build out what the expectation will look like by adopting this.
Okay. All right. Do you want to withdraw your,
It can die for lack of a second. I guess it's the other process.
all right?
I make a motion, we approve, are we ready for that resolution? Number R-10-23.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Resolution R-10-23 is approved. It is now time for public comment. This is an opportunity for citizens to address the City Commission regarding agenda items, issues, or to provide information. Comments are requested to be limited to 5 minutes, and specific questions should be addressed to the City Manager's office. The City Manager's office will respond at the following meeting during the City Manager's report. Are there public comments?
Sorry, you get to see me again. Danielle Dreiling, 1038 Nicklin Avenue.
Yes.
So the December school board meeting, they approved selling the Wilder lot to the city of Piqua. We hadn't heard anything about it, and we wanted some details on it, as obviously the neighborhood's been very interested in this particular lot for the past, I don't know, 6 months or so. So, is there any details? I haven't seen anything on any of the agendas,
A
so
lot hasn't
that's
been
why I'm curious.
purchased at this point in time.
Okay,
This commission has approved it, if I'm correct. It just says the transaction has not gone through, though. The school district still currently owns.
I see that, but they approved it in December, they
Right.
did. That's why I'm asking, because that's
Right.
the first we had heard about it being sold to the city.
That is correct. It has not sold yet, though.
I know, but that's the intention,
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah.
So that's the intention, then what's the plan afterwards?
That ultimately would be up to the city to develop in the future. That would be Mr. Schmeezing's bailiwick.
Yeah, it's the same scenario as the South Main Street lot. The property is conducive to development opportunities, and through the city's acquisition, the coordination with PIC would allow for proposals to be solicited that would facilitate a future redevelopment of the site. Obviously, there's some concern, interest, if you will, and I think the way that process can be handled is through some public engagement and making sure that any development intentions align with the values and interest of the community is important. And in doing so, then the planning commission would be presented something that there would be some consensus on what's being proposed.
Okay, and that was my concern and why I wanted to ask. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Good question. Yeah, I think that's part of the point from the last time with this lot, is to make sure there is input and public engagement before moving forward.
And knowledge. And
Right, and I think it's important that you have been here, you have dedicated, no,
Every
because
time.
that way you keep it in the know and you can let people know and that what's going on with it.
I appreciate you
Yeah.
coming. I do. You know that.
I
I want you to. You want to be informed.
Your neighbors should be coming too, but
Yeah,
they,
they
yeah,
should.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, I see that.
yep.
Are there any other comments?
I'm gonna comment on something she said. Let me think now. Okay, when the school board sold it to city, why didn't they have an auction like they did on South Street? They had a public auction, because my buddy bought it. Why didn't they have an auction for that one? Because the lady back here wanted to buy it.
I can answer that one, Roland.
Yep.
When the school, because I was on school board too, the schools have the ability to sell the property to the city at fair market value. If they sell it out to the general public, they have to auction the property off. That's the difference. There's a statutory exception to the auctioning if the city buys it.
Why didn't the city want a South Street then?
What's that?
Why didn't the city get South Street then?
I think Mr. DG bought that
No,
one.
he did.
Yeah,
my
the
best buddy.
school board, I don't know if the school, I was on school board when that happened. I don't know if the school board even offered it to the city, or if they did, the city declined.
They just had a
Take
public
it.
sale.
And they put it up for public auction, and Mr. DG bought it at that time, so.
Okay, I got another thing. When are we gonna realize what's going on in the city about these, codes?
What codes?
Your city ordinance? Cause I brought it up here a while back, and I wasn't allowed to say nothing because it was in court. Now it's out of court over a carport. And it's out of court for a lot. I told you about my lot, okay. I went to court last Wednesday for a carport. I know who's behind it. I know who's behind all this. Because he sat right down there and told me, before I plead, I'm gonna tell you what you can get out of it, what you can get out of this. Because I made remarks to him. In this room right here, you're getting too old, you should step down. When I sat down there and gonna plead how I was gonna plead, he said, before you plead, I'm gonna tell you what you can get. Okay, so I went down there and pleaded not guilty. You know what I got for having a carport in Pickway? I'm 68 years old, never been in trouble, don't smoke, don't drink. That man there knows me all my life. I got 6 months probation $100 fine, and 6 months in jail for this. Same with the house. I didn't, these people moving out of my house. Same with the house. I got probation. I'm on probation right now. 68 years old, never been on probation in my life. And he knows who I'm talking about. I'm looking at you. He knows he done this.
So,
He told me he would make sure he'll give me time for this. And if he's gonna stand there and say he didn't, I'll bet everything I own and take a lie detector test. Because this is more a personal problem than anything with him and me and him and Aaron.
are you proposing that we change the ordinance on carports? Is that what
Yeah.
you're talking about?
I already took mine down today, but I'll put it back up.
If the ordinance goes away, you'd put it back up? is
Yes,
what
I
you're
would.
saying. Okay.
I mean, what's so bad about carport in Pickway? Pickway's the only one that's got the ordinance, number one. Troy ain't got it, Cindy ain't got it. I don't know about Dayton, I don't go down there, but Cindy and Troy ain't got it. I called the state of Ohio, it's not a state law to have one. It's just a city ordinance you guys got. Then about cleaning this yard, I got rentals. I can say it's to the point that, yes, I'm responsible for it, but before I'm responsible for it, why don't you make the people responsible that's living there and do like Sydney and Troy does, put it on their light bill. Then if they don't pay it, I guess I gotta pay it. I ain't got no choice. But you go to the people that's causing the problem, not bypass them and go someplace else. And when's the city gonna, 6 months in jail for a freaking carport? Now, how sad is that? Huh? How sad is that? It ain't right, is it?
Can we add to a work session, talk about this to see, just to review it, the carport ordinance?
Yeah, we certainly can, but again, that goes back to design standards and the idea of having, a community that controls the physical characteristics of, what's constructed. So you're mistaken, there are a lot of communities that do have carport ordinances.
Well, Pickwick and Troy, I know they don't. That's
Oh, that's not the whole world. It's not just Miami
Okay,
County.
we live in Pickwick. We got to worry about the people in Pickwick, not Troy, Dayton, Sydney. We all live in Pickwick. We want to all get along, try to, but doing this, word of mouth's number one thing, word of mouth. When I tell some, they gave me 6 months for having a carport. Are you kidding me? But then you got a house on, the lady told me, there's a house beside her been condemned for 20 years, but ain't torn down yet. I can't think what street. You gotta get me frustrated. I can't think what street it is. But when we gonna realize what's going on in this town before it gets too far and out of hand? That's what I'm saying.
Thank you for your comment.
Am I gonna do anything about it? I'm saying what I can do. That's all I can do. But one of these days, something's gonna happen, and mark my word, I ain't gonna do it, but one of these days, somebody ain't gonna take it so lightly. That's why a lot of these places, they got these murders and stuff. You only take so much of somebody's shit, period.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
And so just to be clear, Mr. Sourmill did not if he took down his carport, he will not serve any jail time. Also, if the lot is cleaned up, he will not serve any jail time. His probation is unreported. He doesn't have to report on probation. And as soon as he takes the carport down and the lot cleaned up, the probation will be over. He was fined $100 in court costs on each count, and that's it.
But
So
who done that?
if he takes the carport down, if he gets the backyard cleaned up, he's not going to serve a day in jail.
You gonna give me my $50 back for my,
Oh,
my,
I can't have, you know that, though.
but, when we gonna realize these ordinances are getting carried away?
We said we would review it, and that's
appreciate
hold me to that, okay?
And what we talk about here, well, back, it might happen.
Thank you.
Yep, I'm going basketball game.
Any other citizen comments? Hi.
Dave Fishback, West Green Street. I
Dave.
just was kind of doing the same thing that she kind of did, was wanting to know where Wilder was, so I was glad she did that.
Yep.
Where are we with the quarry stuff? I know that was got into litigation.
It's still
So
litigation.
I can update on that also. The quarry case is still pending. It's probably going to pen for a very long time.
Okay.
The way that works, it's an appeal to the Common Pleas Court. The Common Pleas Court reviews the record of the planning commission, and they have to determine whether their decision was arbitrary or capricious. The record is, there's an issue with the taping that's happened with that. The record's being processed at this point in time. They still don't have the final transcript. Well, they have a transcript filed, but they're working at reworking it. They had the audio enhanced. That will go to the court probably this week. The Sherrys have asked to have additional evidence presented. That will be up to the court to do that. I don't expect this case to be over. Knowing how the court system works, quite frankly, I don't expect this case to be over. The earliest is in the summertime, likely towards the end of the year, and then my guess is whichever party loses out of this will appeal it, which just adds another 6 months to it. So it will take a significant period of time, probably a year, year and a half, maybe two.
So you're saying the transcripts are from the Planning City Commission meeting?
So the planning commission had a recording, and we actually had a court reporter transcribe that, and she had some difficulty hearing. Actually, Pickwood Materials had the audio enhanced, and she's going through that now, and told me on Thursday that that's going to be filed with the court, or be ready to be filed, and we're gonna ask the court to use that. Sherry's have asked, because the transcript was bad, that they be able to present more evidence.
Okay.
So the Common Pleas Court standard is whether it was arbitrary or incapricious, or there was any errors in procedure is what they'll look at. And if there was, then they would probably refer it back down to the Planning Commission, and it would go from there.
What is the process like for guys like me to be informed about where all that is? That if it's in April, something comes up, or in May, you know, a verdict is made. Is that something that you guys report back here on, or is that just anywhere?
I would almost bet the newspaper will pick up on that. If you ever want to really look, you can go on Miami County Common Pleas Court website, and they have a docket with the clerk's office, and if you pull up, go to City of Pickwick, and go look at civil and the Common Pleas, and you'll see a case number for it. You can click on that case, and it will show the docket as what's going on.
Okay. So chances are, this is not a 2023 thing.
No, I don't think so.
There was a very similar case that occurred a couple years ago and actually went to the Supreme Court, and if that happens, the Ohio Supreme Court, you could be looking at several years. So, yes, the answer to your question is.
Just you don't hear anything about it. I'm just like, am I totally out of the loop, or it's, you know, what's
question.
going down?
I'm glad
There's
you asked.
so many people were freaking out about it, you know?
Right.
You get nothing, and I get
Right.
litigation.
It's possible you'll have a decision from the Common Pleas Court this year, but for it to be completely over this year, I would be surprised. Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks,
Thank you for your question. Are there any other comments? We'll have the city manager's report.
Good evening. I'd like to just indicate we observed Martin Luther King Day yesterday, and so trash pickup will be 1 day delayed. Pickups on Friday will be on Saturday. And I just want to shout out to the sanitation crew when it rained really hard last week. The only two things going on was the U.S. mail and picking up refuse. So congratulations to those guys for a great job. Our next meeting's gonna be February 7th, so we have near 4 weeks in between now and then, which is an oddity in the calendar. I just want to be sure that people know it's not gonna be 2 weeks from tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Vice Mayor Lee.
Hey, would like to ask where we are with the chicken ordinance. That
I was gonna ask that too.
people have been asking me, I want to ask. Where are we?
I've run afoul with this one.
Oh, Frank, that was so bad.
The moment they have, they start picketing my house.
Will have it. I will try to have it together for you in one of February's meetings.
It's
How's
one
that
of the
sound?
February meetings, all
Okay.
right, so I'll report back. Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to 2023. We were dragged in here kicking and screaming, not being able to see the fireworks, which is true. I mean, that's a good point. I just want to remind everybody this weather is fluctuating. So sometimes it's really cold, sometimes it's 50. Today I got up in the 50s. So be careful. It's a good chance you can catch a cold. Don't want that to happen. Watching Piqua basketball, they continue to amaze me. Reason I do that is I coach for Lehman, so I always keep an eye on Piqua. Piqua does a great job, and they continue to do a great job, and Lehman's doing a great job as well. Did I see that show choir got grand champions
They did.
and
That's a big deal, too.
and
Yeah.
best performance and
That-
one other category?
They,
They
the
clean
audio
sweep.
hype, the band got a perfect 30 out of 30
Yeah,
score.
it was a clean
Awesome.
sweep.
Yeah.
And Tom Westfall's just amazing individual. I mean, just, he trains kids year after year after year after year, and they're always good, so.
He has a disease.
Yeah.
It's called infectious enthusiasm.
Yeah, and it's the talent. It's a talent, and I appreciate what he does. And all the kids in show choir, I'm very proud of them, and I want to congratulate them. And congratulations to Piqua Catholic. I'm successfully had 6 kids go through Piqua Catholic all the way through 8th grade, and so for them to have been around since what 1853,
Yes.
it warmed my heart. So, and Brad does a good job. He's a great principal, a super nice human being. So, other than that, it will be a while before we get back to you. Don't hesitate to contact us. We're out there. We want to be public and open and accessible. Don't be afraid to talk to us. And with that, I'm done.
Commissioner Vetter?
I wanted to make a comment that was kind of related to Chris's comment. You know, one of the things I think happens when you have strange fluctuations in temperature is you have pipe problems.
Yeah, that's true.
And we're talking about water pipe for the city, we're talking about other kinds of things, but also individual homes. And
Real quick,
having a person,
Real quick, Kevin Craney called out a bunch of people. He called me, and said, "Hey, your aunt's water is leaking. We couldn't get a hold of her." That's just a service that the city of Piqua provides. I'm very, very impressed. I appreciate what he did, and that shows me how hard our employees work for us, and he did a great job. Thank you very much.
yeah, it works. And for those of us who had a frozen drain pipe, we survived.
Yep, that's true.
Have a new plumbing bill, but that's another issue. I'm going to offer my current addition to what I call Vetter's Suggestions for Good Citizenship. This is Volume 1, Chapter 2, Good Citizens Are Helpful. And I think my first suggestion was that good citizens are kind, and I think if everybody in the city of Piqua were helpful, we'd be facing a different situation.
Absolutely. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hines?
Thank you. I also want to congratulate our Catholic schools here in Piqua. And I can remember when the kindergarten pre-K opened up over at Boniface. That's been a huge addition to our community. So congratulations to the workers in both, teachers in both places here in Piqua. Also, this past weekend, I had the joy to go to the new Crooked Handle Brewery. And if you don't know, they now have a new beer that they named after Piqua called Piqua Pale Ale. If you have not been there, I encourage you to go. The food is fabulous. The atmosphere is fabulous. The line has been out the door. People were just, very happy to be there. Nobody was frustrated they had to wait so long to get there. And Jason and his crew, they are just knocking it out, and they are just really, whether he's in the kitchen or out front or whatever, just really making it happen. And I know the official ribbon cutting, Lorna, is February, not ribbon cutting, but the official open is like February 4th, yeah. The ribbon cutting's already happened with the Chamber of Commerce, but the actual grand opening is the 4th of February, and I know there's a lot of great things happening. They've already had yoga down there, and they've got some other things going on too. So again, thank you to our good friends at Crooked Handle. We are so excited to have them here in Piqua. Also, if you're looking for something to do, the Round Barn venue site out, which is part of the Ormond Estates, are doing date nights. The first one was this past Saturday. It was a speakeasy. So for those of us that went, we dressed up in the Roaring Twenties, had a great evening of music and good food and just good time together. The next one is the 11th of February, and it's for Valentine's Day. And you can look on their website or Facebook page at the Round Barn to get information about it. And then the next one after that is March 11th. It's a murder mystery. So I know Tim and Janelle really wanted to open up that venue during winter. Many times we don't have places to go or things to do. So I encourage you, if you've got nothing to do on those nights, to grab a date and come out and join us. We had a great time. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Mr. Lee, I appreciate you bringing up the chickens. If you didn't, I was going to. I've seen so many memes out there with the egg prices going up, and I know
Yep,
people's contacted me.
exactly.
So definitely, I think that's a topic that is going to get brought up again. Talking about Main Street and then just events and volunteerism, I'm going to still trying to encourage people to get involved. So 2023, get out there, really get involved, see where you can volunteer. I think that's great. I know, speaking of Crooked Handle, tomorrow night they have a Miami County Young Leaders event that's going to be happening. I think if you donate just clothes to children's, like scarves, gloves, those kind of things, you get free drink tickets and pizza. So another good activity to try to get. I'd love to get some more Piqua residents involved in how we can, especially the younger group, become leaders with not just in your chosen fields, but as part of the community and as citizens. So please come out and check it out, and as well, reach out to Lorna if you have any kind of inclination on how to get involved this year in 23. So, thanks.
Thank you. I want to congratulate to Piqua Catholic School Week. And also, if you're thinking about volunteering, we have board openings here at the city. And I'm not sure if they're all filled yet, or you can certainly get on the website and look. But volunteerism is very important. It's learning all about the inner workings of our city government, and it's a great tool to educate yourself and to get involved. And we appreciate you stepping up to do that. I don't have anything else, and I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. It's been moved and seconded. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I went to